Welcome back, everybody. This is Students of Storrs podcast episode 5. Today, we're talking life as a women's basketball team practice player, and I'm joined by Grant Mengel and Ty Reeves, two superstars on that practice team. They're going to tell us a little bit about themselves, their basketball journeys, and most importantly, some stories about being on Gino Auriemma's practice squad. So, without any further ado, Episode 5 starts right now. Grant, do me a favor, introduce yourself to the people.
Well, as you said, I'm Grant. I'm a sophomore and I am a finance major, but right now I'm currently at home in Albany, New York.
Great. Grant, you were a transfer student to UConn, is that right?
That is correct. Yeah, I came from Carleton College out in Minnesota. I played Division III basketball out there my freshman year.
Great. And Ty, how about you?
As Noam said, I'm Ty. I'm a sophomore. I'm a journalism and comm double major, and right now I'm sitting in my room in West Haven, Connecticut.
And I'm Noam. I'm also a sophomore, so we got the whole sophomore crew. I am your host, and I'm coming to you from Lexington, Massachusetts. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you are healthy. Hope your families are healthy. Hope you're staying busy enough during these times. I know it's difficult. I know it's especially hard without sports, but we appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time to come on for an episode like this. So my first question for you, Ty, is how did you end up at UConn, and then what led you to try out for the practice squad here?
So for me, I played a couple sports in high school. I played basketball, soccer, and baseball, and I had an offer to go play at UConn Avery Point for baseball. And it was really down to either going there or just coming straight to Storrs if I got in. And thankfully, I got admitted right to the campus. So I decided to, put the bat down and kind of just come here and get college started without being an athlete for once. But obviously, that didn't get too far because now I'm back at square one. And as far as my basketball background, I didn't pick up a basketball honestly until I was in seventh grade. I was always an athletic kid and I always enjoyed playing, pickup or 2K, but I never played organized basketball until seventh grade. And then I played in eighth grade and then I played on my middle school team. And then, I played only 1 year in high school. I actually got cut my freshman year and then I made it my sophomore year, played a bunch of varsity and then just had a little run in with the coach and a bunch of other players. So I just stopped playing. That was basically my experience with basketball.
And then once you got to UConn, how did you end up trying out for the practice squad?
So basically, how I went about it is, everybody comes in, kind of just migrate to the rec, and you see all these players that are as good as you or better than you, and you learn a lot. And I met a guy named Kofi, who was a practice player at the time, and I kind of talked to him about it. And then when tryouts came around for our sophomore year, I'm sure Grant will say the same thing. I kind of just waltzed in the gym. We did a little paperwork, and we had a quick 30-minute tryout before we went to class at 8 or 9 a.m.
Wow, that's great. I'm really excited to hear a little bit more about that first couple of weeks on the team. Probably a lot of nerves. It wasn't just so easy as walking in and signing a piece of paper. Like, it's not like you're just hooping at the rec, but you were trying out for Gino Auriemma's team. Now, Ty, you didn't completely drop the bat. You're on the club baseball team, right?
Yes, sir. I am still on the club baseball team.
Now, no season this year, but you planning on being back on that next year?
Yeah, hopefully after I have this, the second surgery on my wrist, I'll be good to pick up the bat again. But as of right now, you won't catch me doing any sort of physical activity until August.
Oof. Well, we're hoping that recovery goes well. Now, Grant, talk to me about your journey. You started at Carleton in Minnesota, played a year of D3 basketball, and then came closer to home to Storrs.
Yeah, so like you said, first of all, I went out to Carleton. I thought that was going to be the place for me. I was going to get to continue my basketball career at the collegiate level. School was a little too small, too far away. There's a lot of things that weren't working for me there. So I decided to come to UConn, which I used to live in Connecticut when I was younger, and I always grew up watching the team, and I grew up wanting to play in Gamble. So UConn was always a place that I saw myself going eventually. And when I decided to transfer from Carleton, I just knew in my heart that UConn was the place I was going to go no matter what. And then, so for the practice squad, my dad actually told me about it. He had read an article about it over the summer. I don't remember where it was, but he read an article and he was like, you should try out for this. And I mean, I didn't want to completely give up my basketball career. So I thought it was a great opportunity to keep playing. And I do want to be a coach someday. So there's no real better coaching staff to be around in the country than this one. So connections.
Now, Grant, when you were in high school, you played against a future Husky for the men's team. Is that right?
That is true. Yes. Andre Jackson, I played against him probably since I was 10 years old, actually.
And you lit him up one game, right?
That's rumor has it. Yeah, I put 15 on him out there.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, you better be getting buckets on the practice squad then, because got it in your blood. You got that confidence.
That's
So
right.
let's move into that a little bit more. Grant, we'll go right back to you. What's your role as a practice player? Like you said, you want to go into coaching and working with probably the best coaching staff in the world, one of them at least. It's got to be quite the experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing opportunity. I love being at practice. I'm one of the guys who, when people are like, I can't go, who can cover for me today? I'm always one of the first ones who's trying to get in there in the gym and learn and be around the team. But my role as a practice player, so I'm 6'4". I'm one of the bigger guys on the practice squad. So I spend I spend my time with the bigs. I've gotten to know Olivia pretty well, Thule, Kyla, that's who I was with this year. So they'll split up into guards and bigs. I'll go with the bigs for a while. And then a lot of times you're just there helping out with whole team drills, or when that's like early in the season. And then once you actually get to when there's games, you start to become the other team. So we got to be Oregon, we got to be Notre Dame, we got to be Tennessee. And that's a lot of fun because you get to run their plays and you get to try to give it to the girls a little bit.
Did you have to watch film in order to get in the mindset of playing as a team like Oregon?
No, we didn't have to watch film, but we would show up before practice and we would go over to the side and run through plays with one of the assistant coaches, and they would give us the full scouting report. So I would get a sheet with like the tendencies of the player of who I was. So it would be they love to drive right, they love to shoot over their left shoulder, they love to shot fake and do this. So you got a really detailed and thorough report of what you were supposed to do that practice.
That's so cool. Now, Grant, I remember a couple times hanging out with you, and you told me about like upcoming workouts that you were doing just one-on-one, both with Olivia and then with a couple other players as well. You want to talk about those a little bit more?
Yeah, I enjoy those more than the practices because it's a little more low key, and a lot of times those end up turning into one on one and just playing, which is a lot of fun for me. So for workouts, it's not always just me and the bigs. Like I've been in there with Meg, I've been in there with Crystal before. Any of them, that's just whatever body you can find, you get in there. But the most fun workouts are when you get the text and it's, hey, Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis is in town. She needs someone to work out with, and then you're like, oh, well, I mean, former UConn player, used to watch her. That's someone who, like, my whole childhood, I was like rooting for her. I'm like, of course I want to work out with her. Like, a little ashamed to say this, but I'm not ashamed, but I would miss classes to go and work out with some of the former players sometimes.
That's incredible. And I think that's, you're learning, you're building relationships when you're going to work out. And honestly, how many times in your life are you going to be able to work out with, legends like that? Like you can go to class all you want, but those are opportunities you should never pass up. Did you get to work out with Stewie at some point too when Team USA was in town?
I did. That's one of my favorite stories is working out with Stewie, actually. So,
all right, we can save that for a little later.
Okay, yeah, I'll save that for later.
All right, cool. Ty, we'll get to you now. What's your role like? Is it similar to Grant? Have you had similar experiences? Talk to me through what you do for the team.
So I would say Grant does a little bit more than me just because, I missed a lot of time due to injury, I guess you could say. But I'm one of the bigger guys, so I'm 6'4", I'm down low working with the bigs. I don't play like a big, so sometimes I'm just over there a little clueless, but, as athletic as I am, I still am able to put up a good fight down low with, Liv, Thule. And again, just, we had our coach, our grad assistant, Adesha, and, she would text us in our group me, I need X amount of players. I need somebody to work out. So I worked out with players like Aubrey. I worked out with Meg a couple times. I worked out with Liv. I worked out with Thule. And I think, like Grant said, those are a little bit more fun because you get to do drills, but then it turns into the one-on-ones. And I can't tell you how many countless times I've played one-on-one with Thule on the blocks or, three dribble pull-up or just stuff like that, just fun stuff at practice. But it's been a great experience, and I enjoy going to practice just to learn because, like I said, I don't have the most basketball experience, so learning the game from one of the best is obviously a lot of fun.
Now, when you guys play one on one with the women's team players, do you compete with them? Do you beat them? Is it close, or is it sort of just like working on specific skill sets, like you said, through dribble pull up, or working down low on the blocks with Thule?
Man, I think it depends. Sometimes it's they want you to play a little bit more. 75% CD would say don't go full out, or 50% here and there. But it gets a little bit competitive because the girls like to talk a little bit, and it gets in your ear, and then you start to perk up a little bit. And you want to give more of an effort, but definitely once the coaches go away and it's not really a formal practice or a formal workout, it's definitely one on one, and we're both trying to win, and it turns into be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with Ty on that one. There are times when there's specific skills that they're having you work on. Like if they're working on step back jumpers, you're going to play pretty hard D. You want to get a hand up, but you don't want to block the shot or you don't want to get up into them so they land on your foot and get hurt. So there's some times where you're not 100%, but I've had other times where CD says, go in, and I'm playing one-on-one with Evelyn down on the block, and it's a war, and I'm a very competitive person, and I mean you have to have that drive to be at the Division 1 level. So they're all very competitive too, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with what he said about CD because sometimes when you ain't playing good enough defense, or she feels like you're not playing defense, or you're in the run spot, we might not be actual players, but CD likes to get on our cases a little bit to, make us feel like we're a little bit more part of the team.
Yeah, CD loves messing around, trying to get under your skin a little bit. She'll tell you can't shoot if you're missing a few shots, you're having a bad day. She knows how to give it to you, but it's all fun.
That's great. I mean, it feels like that's the type of experience you want. You wouldn't want to be treated any differently than a player on the team would be. And that being said, it's a bit of a different philosophy. Having male practice players for a women's team, there's probably some people that look at that and say, why? What's the point? Isn't that sexist? But there's a deeper mindset behind it. There's got to be some reason for it. Gino and Chris Daly haven't won 11 national championships for no reason. Do either one of you want to hop into sort of what the team gets from practicing against male players who might be a little bit bigger or a little bit stronger?
Yeah, I think definitely we play at a little bit different physicality, a little bit different speed sometimes, and it's just good for them to go up against that because it's something that they might not see in the game. So if they can do it, and they give it to us sometimes too, like if they can do that against us, that's why they can go and do that against anyone in the country. And it's also good to have us there because they don't have to have 10 girls on the court at the same time, where 5 can be competing against us and the other 5 are really watching and digesting instead of just playing defense. Or what good is it for like your sixth and seventh man who are gonna play in the game to be running through Oregon's plays? Like they shouldn't be doing that. They should be focusing on what their duties are.
Nah, I definitely agree with Grant. I mean, we're a little bit of, I guess you could say, a bigger, stronger competition, and like he said, they give it to us sometimes because they know if they could beat us, then they can go on the court and beat anybody. But as far as having guys go, these girls are some of the best athletes. As far as I go, some of the best basketball players I've played against. So, I don't really think it's a matter of gender. I just think they want to put out the most athletic people or whoever that will give the team the best challenge they can get at practice every single day.
Yeah, just to add on to that, they are some of the most fundamentally sound and like consistent players that I've ever seen in my basketball career. It's incredible, and the drive and just how meticulous they are. If they miss 2 shots in a row, they'll stand there and then they'll try and hit their next 10 or 15 because they want to get it right before they're done.
Grant, do you think that's a product of playing for Coach Oriema and being a player on UConn women's basketball, which is, the most illustrious program ever? Or do you think that's just what every single college basketball player's mindset is like? It's repetition, it's practice, it's making sure that you miss that shot twice, you're going to go hit it 10 straight times in a row.
I definitely think Gino has a big role in that because it's the culture he's created. You see the seniors doing it. Crystal's the one there. She's leading, she's shooting, she's doing everything she can to get better. And so the younger ones see that, and then they start to follow on the lead. And Crystal will pull them over and say, "Hey, you come shoot this with me, or you rebound for me, then we'll switch." And so I think it's definitely a product of Gino.
Now, guys, before we get into story times, and I'm going to let you tell as many stories about whatever women's basketball practice team related, I want to get into logistics a little bit. So you have that first tryout, and then what happens? How many guys are on the practice squad? How often do you go in? Do you get to wear gear? Do you get free shoes? Do you get free jerseys? Talk me through some of the logistics for all of us who don't really know what it's like to be a practice player. Yeah, Ty, go ahead.
Yeah, so to put it in, I guess you could say simple ways is we walked in for a tryout at about 8 o'clock in the morning. And when I mean this practice was no more than 30 minutes, it was literally no more than 30 minutes. I mean, there was probably about 30 to 35 guys there, all at least most of us were very good at basketball, and I think it just came down to what they needed as far as size or athletic ability. But it was, they picked right then and there. I know me personally, I thought it was gonna be, more of a okay, we'll give you an email in like, a day or so. But it was like they had the sheet and they said, all right, everybody come here. These are the people we want, read off the numbers, and then anybody else, sucks to suck. That was it. So it was kind of harsh, but that's really how it goes. And then as far as practice goes, it just you're still a student first, so they base it around your schedule. So for me, I only was able to practice on Thursdays and Fridays because those were the only practice days that suited with my schedule. And they're very flexible when it comes to like if you have an on-campus job or if you're a part of organizations. Like for me, I'm a part of a bunch of organizations on campus that kind of take up a little bit of my time. So they're good with that. And then as far as gear goes, man, we all love getting gear. We start off, I think we have two practice jerseys, two long sleeves, two short sleeves, two pairs of shorts, socks, and then you get shoes, which you think would be the nicest shoes, but they're really not. And then after that, I mean, you'll be lucky if you get a jacket or something throughout the year, but it's not like we're a regular athlete that's getting, showered with gear and gifts every single day of the week.
Now, you guys also, do you get a little bit of tuition compensation? Do you get credits? Do you get paid? And Grant, I know you were ready to hop in, so feel free to say whatever you wanted to say as well.
Yeah, so I'll answer your question first. There's no tuition or anything you get, but you get that gear and you get access to their cafeteria, which we will eat in after practice, which is a really nice bonus. Instead of having to go over to McMahon or something, I can stay there and get a nice steak or a chicken sandwich or something that's a lot better. But back to what Ty was saying, yeah, the tryout was interesting. It was 30 minutes on the dot, and some of the girls start coming in about halfway through, and they're all standing over there whispering and pointing at people. And they go up to Adesha, who's the one like evaluating us, and they go over and they're whispering, they're pointing at numbers, and you're thinking to yourself like, oh, are they talking about me? Like, does that mean they want me to be on the team? Or are they saying definitely don't pick that kid? And so you literally line up, and then she just says, okay, numbers 137, you're on the team. And then she keeps going down, and you finally hear your number in order, and it's just a big sigh of relief. And then the gear, yeah, it's awesome to have the gear. I'd probably never have to buy another piece of UConn basketball gear again because I have that, and I have 2 more years coming up where I'll hopefully get some more, which is just, I love having it.
It's pretty sweet. So, okay, I lied. Two very, very quick questions. One, once you're on the team, do you get to continue being on the team, through the rest of your UConn career? And two, did either of you think about trying out as a men's either manager or practice player?
Yeah, once you're on the team, you're good. We don't have to retry out again next year. We end up being the people who evaluate who we should bring onto the team. And I actually, I'm considering. I would love to try to walk on next year. I've put thought into it. I've been working out a lot at home. Can't go to the gym right now, but I've been getting 500 shots up a day just in case I end up deciding that I want to give it a shot. And I have my old coach actually knows Dan Hurley, so I was going to meet with him in April, but clearly that can't happen right now. So we'll see where the path takes me eventually.
That would be so cool. Yeah, Ty, hop in too.
Yeah, like Grant said, is once you're on the team, you're on it. You don't have to try out again. And I think it's more of our job to try and I'm not going to say recruit, but if you see somebody that's good around the rec, or if you know somebody that's coming into school that played a lot of ball in high school, you want to obviously kind of push them and bring them in. Because I know, like for us, we lost a lot of people throughout the year due to school or travel abroad. So our numbers were kind of slim towards the end. But I've never really considered walking on for the men's team. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think I could dunk like James Bouknight, but I actually considered walking on
Sure,
for
sure.
baseball. I might have to pull out the tape, no, but I considered walking on for baseball. But I heard a couple rumors, and I talked to a couple players, and they just said it's not really worth it.
All right, now we're going to get into the part I was most looking forward to. Now, you guys are both in UCTV, and you are both really great on shows, both at commentating, arguing, telling stories. And now I want to open up the floor to you guys for whatever you want to talk about. Tell me some stories. Tell me things that Gino has said to you. Tell me about Chris Daly yelling at you for, forcing Molly Bent to draw a charge. Whatever it could be, make me laugh, entertain me. Let's hear those stories.
All right. Well, this is just a little flex on this one. It's one of my prouder moments of the year. So I went in for a workout with Anna, and it was just a big shooting workout, and I was rebounding for her. It was me and one other practice player there, Emmanuel. Shout out to him. So we're rebounding, and Shay, the assistant coach, is running the workout, and she tells Anna, we're at the end. She says, "Anna, you have to hit 10 threes in a row before you can leave." So Anna's standing there. 15 minutes go by. She keeps getting to 7, 8, 9, and she can't get that last one or two to fall. She's getting really frustrated. So she goes over and takes a little water break just to try to get the mindset right and get ready to do it again. And I was just standing there with the ball, and I step outside the arc and I shoot a few threes, and I hit my first few. And I'm like, all right, Emmanuel, keep feeding me. So I go, and Shay is standing there watching me, and I hit 4, 5, 6. And on my first try, I got all the way to 10. And Anna just looks over at me and just shakes her head. And that's about as mad as I've seen Anna the whole year. I was laughing so hard. Shay was laughing at her. It all worked out because Anna did it about a minute later. But it was a lot of fun to just do that on my first try and beat her.
I wish I was a fly on the wall who understood Polish, standing right next to Anna Makarat right then. That would have been something else. But kudos to you, Grant. I guess you're as good a three-point shooter as Ty is a dunker.
Yeah, I will say 3-point shooting isn't my forte. But anyways, I guess you could say one great story I have is it was first day of practice. So I mean, I know me personally, I walked in that gym and was shaking because you're in a gym that's bred some of the best basketball players in the world. I mean, and first drill we're doing I don't even it's one of their warm up drills. It was right after, so we had three practice players lined up on the outside of the court near the out of bounds line. And we had one at one end, one at the other, one at half. And basically, what we had to do was pass the ball down the line, and then the girls would run back on defense. And then as it went on, we started putting guys around the perimeter. So I went to the corner. We had somebody at the top of the key, in the other corner, and then kind of at the wing. So we passed it in, and all right, my friend Sam, we call him the speeding bullet. First time we go through, he gets it, shoots it, air ball. That's all right. It's like first day vibes. We're a little nervous. Second time the ball comes down the court, shoots it, air ball. Go again, comes down again, passes it to Sam, shoots it, air ball. 3 air balls in a row for the first 3 shots of practice. And then the ball got swung to me on the next one, and I didn't airball, thank God, but I barely nicked the bottom of the rim. And Gino just shook his head. It was like, did you guys pick any guys that can actually shoot the ball? And it was like the most
that
embarrassing
sounds
but funny moment.
that sounds like classic Gino Oriema right there. I could
Yeah,
just see him, running his hand through his hair, saying, "You kidding me? Did you get any shooters?"
you know,
Must have
I'm
been
I'm
so funny.
I'm sure he said a little bit more than "Did you get any shooters under his breath?" But it was a very funny moment, to say the least.
All right, let's keep going. You got any more?
I'll go next.
All right.
I'll go two, just back to back rapid fire. So quickly, the Brianna Stewart one, that was awesome. So I got a text one night. It was around 11:30 p.m. It was really late. I was getting ready for bed, and I see a text from Adesha, and she's like, "Can you come in for a workout at 8:30 in the morning?" And I'm like, "Oh, I really don't want to. It's Saturday tomorrow, or it was Friday tomorrow." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess I will." She didn't say who it was with. So I just show up in the morning and I walk in, and Brianna Stewart's the only one in the gym shooting. And I just kind of look over at her and I was just like, oh my God, that's Brianna Stewart. And so I walk over and I start rebounding for her, and we just start talking. And she asked me all about my like basketball career and stuff. And I told her, yeah, I went to Carleton, this and that. And she seemed really interested. And we were talking, and it was just one of the coolest experiences I've had. I was a little starstruck there for sure. And then other story about what was I going to do? Gino. Oh yeah, so Gino, there will be times during practice when he'll stop a play and he'll be like explaining to one of the players like, "Oh, well, if the defender's going to do this, then you should do this." And then he'll say, "So when you do this, like to actual players, say, okay, so you're going to dribble, you're going to cross over, go to the left. What's the defender going to do?" And he just gets really quiet and looks at you as the practice player, and you have to answer Gino's question with everyone in the gym looking at you. And I was like, I take a step to the right, and he's like, good. And I just like big sigh of relief. The first time it happened, I was so nervous. I'm like, does he actually want me to answer this, or is it rhetorical, or is one of the girls going to answer it? And after about 5 seconds, I just kind of blurted it out, and practice went on smoothly and fine. And I was just big sigh of relief for me there.
You ever get yelled at by Gino?
Personally, I don't think he's yelled at me before. CD, yes, lots of times, but not Gino.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
CD also works with the bigs more, so I guess that, right, it's probably a little bit more suited towards what you're doing with the team.
Yeah, for sure. And she'll let you know when you're doing things wrong. 100%. She'll take you out of practice sometimes too. If you're really messing up, she'll look over at one of the other practice players and just say, "Get him," and then you go stand on the side for a little while.
Yikes!
You gotta be good when you're there. You gotta be making a positive impact.
Yeah, right. I mean, they didn't take you for no reason, and it's a team that runs like a machine, and they're going to use every single second to reach that level of perfection that they're trying to get to. Ty, back to you.
Yeah, I definitely understand what he's saying about CD. Me and CD have had a couple run-ins, but not anything crazy. But she's definitely yelled at me, and I'm just like, CD, I'm not in the mood for this today." But I mean, I got a couple stories. Let me think. This is a good one. Grant was there for this one. This was it was a Saturday practice, and I swear to God, on the schedule, because we had a weekly, or it's either weekly or it's bi-weekly schedule, and it was a Saturday practice. We had to be there at 8:45, and it was until 1. It was either 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and it was just a ridiculously long practice. So we ended early, not ended early, but we ended around 12. So we thought we were getting off the hook, or 11:30, one of the two. But all the Nike EYBL circuit coaches were there, and our assistant or grad assistant was like, "Stick around just in case he needs you to do anything as far as like plays or walkthroughs go." So, we're all sitting on the side, we're chopping it up, and he's talking to the coaches. They're asking questions, and we thought we were really going to get off the hook, and we were about to leave. And then one of the EYBL coaches was like, "Well, can you walk through like a couple of your plays or a play?" So we get up, and I don't even remember what play we were running, but I was at the elbow. Grant was probably out of the ring, and we were doing a little dribble handoff. And then somebody was running off the screen and cutting to the basket. And of course, I had the ball in my hand, and he said, "Pass the ball." So I tried to bounce pass it, and my friend wasn't running like fast enough, or I just threw it too hard, and I threw the ball out of bounds. And he just looks at me, and then looks at the coaches and goes, "See, this is why I don't coach boys." And it was just like a shake of my head, and it was like, damn, how did I really mess that up? But at the same time, I was just like, man, practice is over. I'm trying to get the hell out of here. But that was a good story.
It's pretty funny. I like that.
What else? Grant, you got any more?
Yeah, I got one more. One of my favorite things at the end of practice is, we all love the food there and everything, but in the weight room, there's these really good milks. They have strawberry milk and they have cookies and cream milk. And like, we'll usually ask one of the players, usually Molly, because Molly's the sweetest. So I'll go up to Molly. I'll be like, "Hey, Molly, can you go get me a milk?" And she'll be like, "Yeah, of course." So as soon as she leaves and gets out the door, I go over to Liv. I'm like, "Hey, Liv, can you get me a milk?" And you ask about 3 or 4 of them, and they all go get them for you, and they come back, and they're really confused because they're like, "Who'd you get that for?" And they're all for me, but they didn't realize that they were all getting them for me. And then I walk away with 3 or 4 milks, and I put them in my fridge back in my dorm. You got to stock up when you can.
Yeah, I just thought of one. This is a really good one. I'm sure Grant will definitely agree with me. The girls are physical as hell. Like you think that, because we're guys, it would be, a little bit of a difference, but I swear to God, Megan Walker is one of the most physical basketball players I've ever played against.
150%. Yeah.
Like
I've caught so many bows from her.
yep, we're talking. If you're running down the court and she's playing defense on you, she'll two hand shove you before she lets you get to your spot, or she'll grab you if she's behind you. Literally. So one practice, we were it was coming down to the end, and I think we got like 3 or 4 offensive or defensive rebounds. And Gino was like, "You guys gonna rebound the ball?" Like, he was just talking to me. He's like, "All right, we're gonna do this drill." So he put 2 of us guys on the elbows, and then the girls were kind of standing right in front of us. And he was at the free throw line. He was like, "Do your best to get the rebounds." And I swear to God, first one, it's me versus Meg. He shoots it. I've never gotten hit it with 2 hands in my throat before, and I like it really shocked me, honestly. Like I got hit, I started coughing, and it was just like Jesus. And it's not like that was the only time you went. You had to go like 4, 5, 6 times in a row before you got to swap out with somebody. And it was just like Jesus Christ, like did I really sign up to get hit in the throat at practice? Like I just signed up to help out, but that's how like physical these girls are and how like competitive it really gets at practice.
It's great. Well, guys, I think you gave a really good insight into what it's like. It's an unfamiliar territory. It's different for you guys. It's different for media members. Whenever we go to practice for media availability, that there's a men's team and a women's team, and a lot of people probably don't know that the men's team is the practice squad. So thank you for sharing some stories, telling us a little bit about what it's like. Do you guys have any final comments before we wrap up?
Yeah,
You go first, Ty.
you go, Grant.
Okay, well, I just want to first say thank you for having us. And just a little side note, my favorite player that's come back, Katie Lou. I loved playing with her. She was the nicest person. She came over and like introduced herself to all of us and everything, and she was just the coolest to play with. So that's definitely one of the highlights of the season for me too.
No, definitely. Also, thank you for having us on the show. But if I was gonna, I think the one thing I wanted to say was when I met Sue Bird for the first time, I don't think I've ever been so starstruck in my life. And it wasn't like, holy ish, it's Sue Bird, because I was also like that. But when I saw the kick she had on her feet, I was like, yo, those are some personal edition Kyrie's nobody's ever seen before. So that really blow half of the practice team's mind when we saw that. But also, I don't know if she's ever gonna hear this, but Molly, I'm sorry for like running you over like 3 or 4 times in practice. I swear to God, it was unintentional, and I never meant it.
I think she'll accept your apology, even if she doesn't hear this, but hopefully she will.
I hope so too.
Well, Grant and Ty, thank you so much for joining. You guys are, it was a pleasure to have you join UCTV this year. Grant, you started a new show. Ty, you brought great personality. Grant, you did too. But thank you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for telling these stories. And hopefully we'll get you back on another episode soon. Ty, I hope your wrist heals up. Grant, I hope you're able to get back into the gym. It would be sweet to see you as a practice or as a walk on the men's team. But in the meantime, just stay healthy, be well, try and stay busy.
All right, thanks, Noam.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us. Love to come back on again.
Absolutely. So next week on the Students of Storrs podcast, I'll be joined by Andy Katz, a longtime men's basketball analyst. And I'm not sure if that'll be Monday or Thursday next week, but you will see on social media when it happens. As for right now, this was episode 5 of the Students of Storrs podcast. For Grant Mengel and Ty Reeves, I'm Noam Watt. Have a great night, everybody.